Hi everyone, my name is Vinny. Welcome to the channel. I put my gloves on. It's cold again today. It's the low 20s with quite a bit of wind here. With all the snow kind of makes it be pretty cold. Yeah. So, what are we gonna talk about today? Something I've touched on many times before in different topics, in different ways. And it really comes down to, the whole fabric of the social structure that we have and how it is designed truly to undermine us as individuals and make us think that we don't matter in the grand scheme of things, right? You're just a speck of dust in this never ending desert. And that's not really how it works, but that's how they want you to think. And after a while, after we live our lives for a while, and we get locked in to this survival mode that I have talked about many times before. That is pretty much over because you kind of surrender to it and you don't do anything about it to change it at all. Because people convince themselves that their life is what it is and they can't change anything about it. There is always this built-in coping mechanism into our psyche that always kicks in when we begin to question things, the things that really matter in life, the things that really make you wonder and think there's got to be something more to it. That feeling that you've always had most of your life, or that at some point it awakened inside of you and you started to question things. And the problem with that, like I talked about before, is that many people, they will have these moments in their lives, but they won't do anything about it. It'll come, it'll go, and they'll just move on with their lives like the way it's always been. And as long as we are locked ourselves into this survival way of thinking, it's what I call survival mode, right? Survival way of thinking, survival way of living, diminishing ourselves. We do this to ourselves. This is what we do. We think little of ourselves. We we were convinced by external influences and forces and social structure systems that have been designed long time ago to be that way, and they haven't changed. They've been there for a long time like that. And then people believe that, let's say you're unhappy with your life, with the way things are, with how you are, what you're doing, who you're with, all these things, right? And yet you do nothing to change. Not only that, you blame everything else outside of you for whatever is going on. But you don't take accountability. You don't take responsibility for the things that you have been doing to yourself all along. Because if anything, you were the greatest contributor to what put you in the place that you are today. We do this to ourselves our entire lives. But we refuse to acknowledge. And then when we have those moments of clarity, when we begin to acknowledge things as they are, the ego kicks in and begins to make excuses for it all. And most of the time, we'll buy it. We'll just go along with it. And that's how things won't change. That's how things don't change. Because this world runs based on energies, frequencies. And when your energetic field, your frequency band is attuned to a certain energetic state or specific frequency, what most people call high vibes, low vibes, that kind of stuff, right? But there's a lot of truth to that, because when you're attuned to certain things and you don't tune out of that, you're always on that specific tune, it's hard to see other things and to be able to do other things, to make the changes that you want to make, if you want to make any changes. What I'm saying is that most people are unhappy with their lives. You can go out there and ask people if they're happy with their lives the way it is. And most people, will most likely say no. It's just weird that, and a lot of times people don't want to acknowledge that they will lie to you and they will say they're happy, basically. But they're not. They're lying. I've talked about this as well many, many times, that, honesty is one of the most powerful tools that a person can have at their disposal, because if we are being honest with ourselves, we're going to see so many things so differently than we currently do. But you have to be honest with yourself. You have to be true to yourself. And then when we begin to live our lives this way, we start to reconnect with these parts of ourselves, realign, so to speak. We begin to embody this eternal part of ourselves that's always been there, that is the guiding force, the guiding light behind big things that we do throughout our lives. And most of the time, we don't even acknowledge these things. But the whole thing with, the survival mode thing is, the only way for people to get out of that is to, number one, acknowledge that most of the things that happen in our own lives, it's of our own doing. Yeah, of course, there's lots of external things going on as well, but it's like I've said it many times, we make decisions, and then we have to deal with the result of those decisions. And that's a basic way of explaining that, very, very easy for anyone to understand. So when you stop taking accountability for the things that you do that go wrong in your life, and take you a different course that you maybe were expecting to go, or whatever, you have to understand that that's on you. Learn the lesson and move on. It's that simple. Because as long as you choose to remain in that victimhood mindset, state of being, of living your life that way, like you're a victim of circumstances and the world is against me and this and that, you're not helping yourself at all. So people need to wake up to these things and see things for what they truly are. And get out of that victim mentality once and for all. And realize that you can do whatever the heck you choose to do if you put your energy into it, your mind into it, your heart, your soul, these parts of you that are what truly make you who you are. This is how people achieve things in life and become successful and all these things, you know. People who realize these things, they figure out the cheat codes to life, basically. And it's really not a cheat code. It's just understanding and acknowledge how the nature of this reality that we live in is, this realm. And then the other thing that I talked about many, many times as well is, you know, stop living in the past, stop thinking about the future. Always be in the here and the now. That's a huge thing. Because that victim part of us, that victim mindset mentality part of us that likes to take over a lot of the times, that's the part that likes to dwell in those things, always reliving the past or always trying to picture things that haven't happened yet. And you don't gain anything from that. You're wasting your time, you're losing your precious time, the most powerful currency that there is on anybody's lives, whether they admit it or not. And I think I'm going to leave it here. You know, I think I've said enough today for today. The the only way to get out of this locked in mindset of being always in survival mode and not being able to make any changes to your life is because you've just convinced yourself that that's how your life is and that's how your life is going to be. And you have to learn not only how to unconvince yourself, but to understand that there are simple tools that have always been available to you that you can use that will allow you to change that once and for all. Start by realizing that all these lies that you've been told your whole life that, you know, you can't do this, you can't do that. You know, I've talked about it here over and over again. You can do whatever the heck you want to do. That's what you have to understand. Yeah, that's it. It's cold out here, though. I'll tell you that. So I'm gonna have to get up and walk to warm up again because sitting here for like 14 minutes, you know, I'm starting to feel it. And really, jeans is not the smartest, you know, material to wear when it's cold like this. Wool pants would have been a better choice, or even some ski pants or something like that, because it's pretty cold out here with all this snow and there's a little bit of wind. But I will catch you all tomorrow, my friends. Be safe. Take care. And yeah, that's it. Until next time. Ugh.